We'll come up with something clever.
Girl. Hit it.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Peeves and Cues. I am Mr. Ed. I'm your host. And with me... with me is the Quaff Man.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Yeah, why is he here? Clever Girl.
Hey.
And our one-time guest.
Yeah, they chained me to a different table this time,
That's
so
right.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, we're on location with our original crew.
Yeah, it's
This
the
is very
original
exciting.
cast. Hi, everybody. How is everybody? How have we been?
I got a new phone.
You did get a new phone. Quaff Man, what kind of phone do you have?
An iPhone.
iPhone,
Which one?
Which number?
The one that was cheapest at the time.
Okay,
Which-
okay, but
So I think that's like a 6.
Oh, okay,
I think this is an iPhone 6S or whatever.
Okay,
That's
cool.
what it looks
And one
like
time,
it
guess
says on
what
my
kind of phone do you have?
I also just had to recently get a new phone.
Huh?
I went to the Verizon store locally, which is a smaller one. So,
You didn't go to the Verizon store?
right. So I ended up having to, because they only have the newer phone, so I ended up having to get the 8. I just tried to get my old phone again,
Huh.
but I couldn't because they didn't carry
What did you have before?
I had the iPhone SE.
It was a 5.
That's a
Basically,
5.
it came
Okay.
out in between the 5 and 6 as like a filler phone.
Oh, okay.
It's the filler episode of the iPhone series.
Yeah.
I-
Bottle
Was it the
episode.
5C? Because I had that. And I
No,
think we
it's
had
just the 5 SE, or the iPhone SE.
or whatever.
Then I made the biggest jump.
Yeah.
I went from a 4S to a 7.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean-
the guy that sold it to me was literally like, do you seriously still have the 4S?
Right.
And I was like,
It's only
we're-
been like 2.5 years
I know,
since that
it's
came out.
been 3
anyway.
years.
In iPhone
yeah.
times, that's a lifetime.
I
That's
know.
a couple retirements.
And
Yeah.
I loved that phone, and I didn't want to update it, but it just wouldn't work.
Yeah,
So.
Right.
yeah. I have the oldest phone here. I have a 5C, and it's
Now you do, yeah.
yeah, it's a piece of crap.
As of today. And I got a new cover for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's representing our.
Put that on a shirt.
Well, yeah, we
That
probably
smells like a
will.
T-shirt.
Merch.
You can buy phone or Clever Girl's phone at www.peevesandcuesstore.com. That's not a real site. Probably doesn't.
One
take
day it
anyone.
will be.
One day, yeah. So yeah,
That's
we're good.
what's
We're
new
good.
movie?
Movies came out.
Oh.
There were some cool movies. We talked a little bit about them off air.
Never mind. We already talked about 47 meters.
Yeah, 47 Meters Down.
And what a
was
trash movie
garbage.
that was.
Apparently, Valerian wasn't great.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard
Were
it
you
was-
like excited to see it, or were you going in thinking
I was
that like
totally indifferent.
okay.
I'm a
That's
fan.
all-
Like I like The Fifth Element.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
even though this is totally only related in the sense that it's the same director and the same kind of aesthetic,
Right.
kind of.
So let me ask you, do you think it's a case of overall bad production or like the prequels effect where it's just stiff acting?
Good question.
That you know what? It's not. I really wish I could say like it's bad production, but the movie's friggin' gorgeous.
That's what I've heard.
Like there's
It's
like
visually stunning.
a lot of time went into like
Making
costuming, into makeup, into effects, into the matte painting, into the music is okay. Like it's I wish this was just like institutional failure,
Yeah.
because then I think.
Well, I
And it's
heard.
like,
But
oh.
it's not. But it's not just like the stiff acting, though. I mean, ooh. There was way too much going on in this movie as well. Like this is something that this story could have easily been a few movies.
See, that's what happened. So that character that plays Green Goblin, what's his name?
I don't know.
You don't know it? Okay,
The
what?
actor, the character, the
Yeah, he plays the Goblin.
yeah,
it's amazing Spider-Man too.
Dane DeHaan.
I appreciate you. I wish I knew your name. That sucks because now he's been in like 2 movies that just have so much content that they could have been split up into 2
Right,
movies.
right.
Yeah,
Chronicle was great though. Chronicle was very good. What she was.
When did Chronicle come out?
It was like 2012 or something.
Okay, so it came out before.
Yep, Dane
Amazing Spider-Man.
DeHaan with 2 A's in Han.
yeah.
You're cool. I like your work so far.
Yeah.
He was easily the most cringe part of
Yeah.
the movie. Easily.
What do you mean though? Like his acting style, or
I said this off air. I'm like, if you closed your eyes, you would have sworn you were hearing Keanu Reeves,
oh, okay,
but
okay.
high.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Dude.
No, that's watchable though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not
I don't know. I've never watched
that kind
it.
of stoner, the paranoid kind of
Oh,
stoner.
okay.
With the guy from Cabin in the Woods, almost.
Marty.
Oh my god.
Marty.
Marty! He's at least watchable, though. I love
He's
that.
very
movie.
good.
He's also,
Oh, that's really
I mean,
sad.
but that's just, again, that's my opinion, one viewer.
Because he was
one...
not like an Amazing Spider-Man. So maybe, I don't know what it was.
Right.
And maybe it's just him trying to do an American accent.
Oh, that really messes
And that's the thing,
people
he
up.
can do the accent, but like, in trying, I think, in capturing a lot of like the American, like monotone cadence,
Yeah.
everything is downspeak. Everything.
Oh, that's great.
So funny.
Everything sounds like this.
Because we just watched, we're watching Lord of the Rings, and we have 2 American actors that don't even bother to really put effort into the whatever accent that they choose.
What about Frodo and Sam?
Yeah. Frodo doesn't.
Well,
It's like, what accent would
is
that
Elijah
even be?
Wood American?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
Oh, see, I thought he was English because he was in this great little movie called Green Street Hooligans. Does a spotless, like, dialect. It's so good.
And what year
Like
did that
Cockney?
come out?
It's this weird, like...
It sounds like it'd be Cockney.
So the progression of this movie is he's an American who moves to England with his family after he gets kicked out of school for his roommate's drug possession. And he so he starts off American, then adopts this kind of pseudo-English, blending in with these street gang type of accent.
The person I think who's more inconsistent about it is Viggo Mortensen.
Okay.
Now, I love Viggo Mortensen, and I think his Aragorn is
Right.
awesome. But there are times where he swings from, American to Irish to, Shakespearean, this very high, English accent.
Well, Jody and I are watching it, and she made a comment about just the fantasy early 2000s acting style that everybody in that movie has. And she was saying everyone in this movie is really bad, and I was saying they're not bad, they're just doing a style, and the style is everyone else is an NPC, and now we're getting to the Fellowship. These are the players, these are the characters that are
But
going on
it's
the
just
quest.
so hokey.
Well, and it's
I just couldn't help but laugh.
Boromir and Gimli, they're acting more naturally and they're acting instead of you must destroy the ring and the fires of Mount Doom.
That's also the source material, too.
Yeah, right, it very much is.
Very much
It's high fantasy.
Yeah, but it's also acting of lean really close into the camera. And just, open your eyes and say this
and you
line.
got Gandalf being keep it safe and hidden, and leaning right into the camera, and it's
secret, keep it safe.
I love Lord of the Rings. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. This is very cheesy. I love it.
I'm enjoying
but
it.
it's
It's just not what I
Well,
thought it was going to be.
Well, you watched Game of Thrones before you watched Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's the mistake I made.
So that's
also,
a huge...
Yeah.
It's a major factor to think about the progression of general films.
Yeah.
Because, that came out in the early 2000s.
2001, yeah.
Postmodernism was really kicking in films. You had the crazy-ass Batman stuff. You had Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which was,
true. You're right.
kind of zany, little comic booky. And now we're into the contemporary era, which is whatever era you're in. But it's all about, gritty realism.
Yeah.
That's
we're in
true.
a very realism-centric...
It's all very
Film.
grounded, all very, this is what would
that,
actually happen.
So that
Yeah.
span from 2000 to 2008 was really and after 2008 is when everything got really dark and gritty.
That's a good period.
Because you know why? Dark Knight came out in
That's right,
2008.
Dark Knight, yeah.
It's Batman's so edgy.
It's also really
everything edgy.
It's also really interesting because we're seeing all these iconic actors that are in other things. They're all in
they're
those
hilarious.
things at the same time because we're watching Sir Ian McKellen be Gandalf and everything. It's it's really funny to think he was Magneto. I'm like, this is 2001. That's the same time. That's when the X-Men movies are coming out. Is the early 2000s,
and as well as Count Dooku.
Yeah, Count Dooku shows up, and it's just
that's a year later.
Yeah, it's the same stretch of time.
It's really interesting watching those movies because I love those movies. I've always loved those movies, and I have the extended editions, and we sat down over a weekend to watch all 3.
Each one is 6 hours long,
right? And I'm about maybe halfway through the first one.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit after, because it's after they're about ready to leave Rivendell.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I got there. Don't worry.
They leave a place called Rivendell.
And
sorry, you guys.
Sorry if you didn't watch it 15 years ago.
Yeah.
wow, does some of this film, is it really dated?
It's very dated.
Very much.
And does not age, and like the content ages well.
Yeah, the story's great.
And the stuff that I'm gonna talk about ages super well.
Right.
But do you ever sometimes feel like you're in like a late 90s, early 2000s music video?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like the music's just about to start, or like it's that beautiful like composition that you're hearing, and it's particularly with the elves. Like it's for some reason you have a cutout, like zooming in headshot of like Elrond, and it's like, whoa! So like I've never seen this character before in the movie, and suddenly he's like this close to my face.
And he's like, "Hello, I am Elrond." Okay, cool. You're Elrond. Get away,
There's
guy.
this scene where the first long-haired guy,
The first one. I can't help you.
the ranger,
Aragorn?
yeah,
Okay.
their names are almost the same. So,
Strider?
yeah,
Aragorn?
he's like looking at the broken sword, and then all of a sudden Sean Bean's face is right there, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, there's a scene early in the movie where Sean Bean and Viggo Mortensen are in the same scene together. She makes a Ghostbusters 2 reference every time I say the name. It's fine.
Because it's ridiculous. Anyway, but, and they look so similar.
Yeah, they look very similar.
So I was like, what is happening?
And so you didn't...
I didn't even know.
You didn't know that was Ned Stark.
I thought it was the same character from, like, a different angle.
So, like, he like, walked off screen and he, like, looked...
One has red hair.
But they were really zoomed in.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. And that's like a...
And then I know it. Now I know them.
Yeah, right. It was very funny because he gives a look to the camera and then leaves the room. And as soon as he left, I was like, "That's Ned Stark, by the way." And she's
I was like, "No, it's not."
Because she thought I was talking about Viggo Mortensen. I was like, "Wow, he got ugly."
I thought so. Not that Sean Bean is ugly.
Yeah,
he just definitely would have aged horribly if he was Viggo.
Yeah, if he looked like Viggo Mortensen in the 2000s and now looks like Sean Bean, that's a stretch.
Anyway,
so
we should get to our peeves or whatever.
Although, if we can take a quick side note to talk about dialects like we were.
Let's talk about dialects.
Tom Holland's Brooklyn dialect.
Yeah.
You really wanted to talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah, you did, and we're just not going to.
Yeah, we are. Spider-Man's great. Wasn't it so good, you guys? Homecoming was great.
No.
It was.
It was pretty good.
I didn't see it.
I still prefer Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker, but this movie was very good.
And I'm not just trolling you, Jody. It's way better than those.
I'm sure. No, I'm sure it is.
It's better
to me.
It's better than Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I will not defend. I still enjoy watching it.
Spider-Man
I won't
2.
defend that movie.
Amazing
Spider-Man 1, it's just like a different flavor. Like I don't think there's much wrong with that.
Here's my question: why did we have to go back to Peter Parker? There are many Spider-Men.
Yeah, and this one does a good job of not just
why. Yeah, why?
We don't see the origin story in this
because
movie.
I think outside of comic book people and even general like nerddom,
right?
Yeah,
Miles Morales means nothing to anybody,
right?
Well, a movie could change that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody knew Guardians of the Galaxy before Guardians of the Galaxy.
Miles Morales does exist in the current Spider-Verse.
Was he in the movie somewhere?
His uncle was.
Donald Glover
is
Miles Morales' uncle.
Oh, I didn't know that character was...
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, go Donald Glover. You should have been Spider-Man.
That's right.
There's going to be a Sony... God bless your little heart,
yeah,
Sony.
They're trying.
They're also doing a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, like, animated. And by animated, I think more like Shrek animated as opposed to, like, cartoon animated.
Yeah.
I believe they're doing Miles Morales.
Well, that's good. At least we get that.
Yeah, I mean, because...
I would rather see
we're so into
the Marvel Cinematic Universe take on Miles Morales. Because I wanted to team up with Luke Cage because I love Luke Cage so much, and I feel like he's pretty much one of the very few strong black characters in the Marvel.
Yes, but MCU. The Defenders aren't going to ever meet up with...
But they could.
Yeah, okay, they could. But
I just think it'd be cool to have like a little role model thing going on there.
Yeah.
Between... I just think it'd be...
I mean, this could be a whole episode in itself, but what I would have liked... And I can't take credit for this idea because it came from Movie Bob on YouTube. You should check him out, Movie Bob.
Comments below.
Is in Civil War, you change basically nothing about Civil War.
Right.
And Tony Stark is like, he's hurting for people. He needs someone just to like maybe like give him just a little bit of an edge. And instead of it going to like this apartment complex in Queens, you go to this high school.
Yeah.
And he walks into the science class and he starts talking to this teacher. Presumably, you're thinking about like a student.
Uh-huh.
The teacher
he goes
turns
and he
around.
talks to Walter White.
Yeah.
And he picks Jesse. No, sorry.
Well, no.
I want that movie. I want Jesse on the Avengers.
And the science teacher turns around, and it's Tobey Maguire.
Oh.
Oh,
that was awesome.
Yes.
Effectively making the Sam Raimi movies the first Marvel movies.
They would have.
Because they were.
Mm-hmm.
heck yeah. Shout out.
And,
really brought in,
and then that way, in the next, like, in my head, that way, like, in the first solo Spider-Man movie, and you call it One More Day, he comes across, he has a student who's Miles Morales, who also is bitten by a spider or whatever, and then at the end of that movie, maybe, like, he dies. Like, Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire dies as one last act of, like, Spider-Man, and then the second movie is, and third movie would be Miles Morales. And maybe, like, a reason to get Tobey Maguire back is maybe you do, like, something with the Clone Saga. Maybe
nobody,
like, Ben Reilly, like, comes... Like,
nobody dies in comics, so it's fine.
So, like, anyway...
That's a great theory. We should definitely stick to
I like Tom Holland, but
what we're saying is after we finish this episode of Peeves and Qs, we're writing a script.
We're writing
for this movie.
Script. It's going to happen, you guys. We'll act it.
We're already over budget.
We'll do a Kickstarter.
It's funny how most of our Spider-Men now, or at least the live-action ones, have been English doing American accents.
That's true of most heroes. That
that's a surprising number of heroes.
Yeah. I have a theory on why.
Yes.
I think it's because...
Because they're better. Yeah.
So, stage theater is much bigger in England and a part of...
Stage theater?
Well...
As opposed to
what?
Street theater?
Okay, theater.
I'm sorry.
Which is done on stages.
Grave theater. No.
He's not wrong. He's stage theater. He's not wrong.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Where stage acting is much bigger in England than it is in America.
Yeah.
Which incorporates musical theater, which incorporates choreography. So a lot of English actors have a lot of dance experience.
Yeah.
And with superheroes, that's super helpful because action choreography is dance.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, for example, the guy that plays the Daredevil...
Right.
I can never remember his name, but he does a great job. Charlie something, yeah. But he is a really good dancer, and his choreography is insane. Like,
oh yeah,
Cox.
Yes,
Charlie Cox.
Yes, there it is.
No
relation to Dr. Cox.
Yeah, no relation.
Yeah. But yeah, he does some really awesome stuff that you just need to. It gives them an edge in the audition because they can do the fight choreography so much smoother and cleaner.
Mm. Well, that's awesome.
Or at least that's my theory. I'm not in the industry. I don't know shit.
Yeah, who's to say?
To pick up back where Gandalf and what's-his-face, Dooku, are like you said, two classically Shakespearean actors like beating each other up.
Yeah, watching the fight scene between Saruman and Gandalf is amazing when you consider that these are people that are like used to like doing the deepest, most intellectual, like heady, like stage stuff that they're like, we're professional, serious actors.
And we're not even going to touch each other when we
they're
beat each
just
other.
Gonna like wave staffs at each other and go flying, and then like Saruman makes Gandalf go like spinning around.
Like it looks cool in the movie, but
when you
gotta think of what it was like on set.
I always say that whenever there's just a crazy scene. I'm like, they had to film that.
They had to film this. They had to put.
They got paid millions of dollars to do this.
They had to put a knighted actor Sir Ian McKellen on the ground and spin him around so he went in circles.
They had to put the last man to originate a Shakespeare role in a big robe and stand him on a bridge and tell him, okay, now you need to scream, "You shall not pass," at the open air.
Yeah.
And then hit the bridge with your stick.
Yeah, and then you'll fall and you'll hold on to it.
And then you'll just like let go.
Gone. So,
another shout out before we move on. I'm sorry. So we're watching this last night here at my house, and my mother walks in and she goes, "Jean-Luc Picard is in this movie."
Oh yeah, Gandalf is on screen. It's like,
and we were like,
it's like that picture where it's like Patrick Stewart and he says, "Use the Force, Harry."
Oh yeah,
Gandalf. That's like the living embodiment of that.
And we said, "No, it's not." And she's like, yes, it is."
Yeah, she was very adamant that this was.
Sorry, this isn't Patrick Stewart. but also an X-Men.
That's what we said.
Right. Because I was thinking, it's like, because I did that thing where there was a clear and obvious connection that I couldn't remember for a second. Okay. So I was like, those two have like worked together. They had to have, right? They had to have worked together. And then Jody was like, X-Men. They're both in X-Men. And I was like, oh, obviously, X-Men, yes.
One of my favorite things to think about is that they started on X-Men after both of them played Macbeth in major film releases. And so I wonder if they like backset, like in their dressing rooms are like, so like, how do you feel about Macbeth? Was that like the best or what?
Yeah.
Like, imagine these great actors who have probably all played similar roles to each other, if not the same roles. Uh-huh. Just like, oh, you did Hamlet? Oh, I did Hamlet. What was your take on? I just think that'd be so cool.
Most of the doctors from Doctor Who have done Hamlet.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's Benedict Cumberbatch. 15th
well, I mean,
Doctor.
15th. What about 14th?
He's busy.
Yeah.
Okay, he's busy for the next like several years.
Yeah, he's in contract. He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, he's got that Marvel money. He doesn't need it. So do you guys want to? It's been a while. Do you guys want to move on to Peeves?
Yeah.
Got any Peeves for us?
Sure.
Who would like to start?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I had it written down, so I need to look it up again because I don't remember.
Actually,
Do you want to go first? You can go first. Go ahead.
No, for some reason I was thinking we would do questions first. That leads into my peeve a little bit, but that's fine. It's good.
You do the last peeve?
I can do the last peeve. Sure.
And then transition to the first questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, there you
Let's
go.
do it.
So this is a running theme. I may or may not have used this already. I don't remember. I need to update the list of our previously used things, but it's been a while. But when bosses or authority figures expect blind cooperation without an expectation that they should explain why, I get like high-pressure scenarios or, like, time-based things where it's like, I need you to do this. There's no time to ask why. But if there's, like, this situation where somebody wants to do things and the employee... You're laughing at something. I don't know.
I'm just thinking of, like, a cop and his chief, and there's, like, some sort of, like, armed robbery going on. He's like, take the shot! I mean, Chief, do you really think I should... He's got hostages!
Yeah, but he probably also has, like, a kid or something. I don't know.
So, do you have an example?
Why is this your...
Well, it's just why, just like, do you, like, just to clarify, like, what is in the realm
because when you... If you are a boss and you have something you want your employees to do, and they clearly have some kind of concern or thought behind... some antithesis to your idea. The idea is because you're the boss, because you're the authority figure, that doesn't matter. Their points of view don't enter into it because you have the way you want things to be done, and they're your employees, they're your subservients. They just blindly do what you say. And that's true, and I'm not arguing that it shouldn't be like that, but I'm kind of arguing that it shouldn't be like that.
So is it that your peeve is...
blindness?
No, the boss is just expecting that and not listening.
And not listening or saying, well, why... Or
maybe explaining why.
Exactly, explaining their point of view.
I have a great not real example, like from fiction, which, spoilers, by the way, Jon Snow, when he becomes Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and then he's like, we have these things that we need to do to save the world, to like save everybody. We're going to bring the wildlings down south of the wall. There are a lot of people who are very angry with that he just does not listen to, because he's like, I'm the boss, this is the way things are going to be done. I'm not going to like tie in like what people want. I'm not going to listen to the people in my employ. I'm not saying that he shouldn't do those things. Like he shouldn't bring the wildlings down or whatever, but listen to your people, listen to the people that are...
and address their concerns.
Yeah, and be like, and like, here's why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking. Here's my thought process, and it all makes sense.
Let me just say that that's a TV show, and they can't show everything, so I'm sure he did listen to that.
No, because very specifically, the reason that terrible things happened to him and the people around him is because he was a bad ruler, a bad commander.
Well, you think so?
Yes, I do. I think Daenerys also not a great queen.
Yeah, she's not a great queen.
We're not going to get into that.
No, we can't. We cannot.
Right.
But that brings up one of my work philosophies, because like I'm management. I am quote unquote the boss when my bosses aren't there. So I am a firm believer in explaining the logic behind things.
Yeah.
And it's not just so that like your employees can be pacified and feel like they understand why they're doing things. You need them to understand that because like eventually you're not going to be there anymore.
Yes, that's
2 years from now, I won't be working at McDonald's.
Right.
So I need someone to like step up and fill in that role, so I don't have to be like, oh man, I wonder how they're doing.
It's like training. It's like, here's why I'm doing.
Especially if you're Lord Goddamn Commander of the Night's Watch, and it's like, hey, second in command, my right hand, this is what I'm doing so that if I, like, die in this war, you can carry on my work.
Right. It's like the life expectancy at the wall is like 6 months, so people need to be able to...
6 months.
Yeah, so you need to have a rotation of people.
People need to know what's going on, or else shit's gonna go crazy when someone dies.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
Right.
Letting your employees know what you're thinking and why to create like new people who will take over for you. I also take comfort in being a blind sheep and getting my work done.
And if that's what you want to do, you can go ahead and be that. I don't care. I'm just saying if you
you don't care if you're not going to listen to me and,
no, I
and
know.
explain why.
That's the whole thing. It's like the boss should listen to people who want to be listened to. If you're fine with just like, yeah, whatever you say, boss.
That's true.
Cool.
I guess my question then to you is, so like...
But who's the better employee to the boss?
Probably the one that's voicing concerns and can make it better because they're saying, here's how you're doing things, here's another angle, here's another point.
And that's still not getting done.
And how
meanwhile, I already got that done.
Maybe. Well, it's a time sensitive thing. It's like, hey, when people show up tomorrow, we need to say this to them. And then we could be like, hey, before they show up, let's talk. It's just like, be on the same level as your employees. Don't be above them, even though you are above them, but don't be above them. But you're above them, but don't be.
That's why I have a very famous phrase around my workplace. My only rule is don't make me be a manager.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Do your job, do it well.
Yeah.
So that I don't have to do don't make me yell at you.
Right. I like it. What were you going to say?
Well, it's this thought. So, like, for you, with this, I'm not sure if this falls exactly in what you're saying, or if this is like an exception to that. I'm not sure. So when you are at a workplace, and not that the work is time sensitive, but it's like there isn't a set time that you're there. You just get the work done, and when all that work is done, you're out of there. And the goal is to be to do that job well enough to where you don't have to stay longer, or whatever. If a manager or someone in charge at that point, the boss, notices an employee doing something not incorrectly, but clearly not how that person was trained, not how everyone else is doing it, and in by that is taking up more time. Is it in your head, is that a time when a boss can just be a boss and be like, don't do that?
Yeah, and yes. I think there is a lot of room there for you're doing something wrong, and I'm going to tell you how to do it right. My whole and most of the time that is the case where somebody takes things into their own hands and it's worse. If there is a situation where they have a legitimately better way of doing things, then, and this kind of gets into like the meat of why I'm annoyed by this. If you have a better way of doing things or you think you do, and you try it and it doesn't work, it's because the boss has more information than the employees do, which again, the boss should be explaining everything to the employees, so there shouldn't be any overhead like that. Overhead's probably the wrong word, but if somebody is doing something wrong, then I think the boss should step in. I'm not saying that the boss shouldn't be a boss.
It's funny you say that. Because you do everything the hardest way, even though the boss sometimes has a better way, and you don't listen to them.
No, I do the things the way that I want to do them, and that can be very annoying.
And that's a lot of work. You create a lot of extra work for yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes I enjoy it, though.
Well, sometimes you just need something to keep your hands off your dick. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. So and maybe I'm sure people disagree with me. Like bosses should be like authoritarians that just like.
I don't think it should be tyrants or anything.
Well, I think chaos is bad for business.
Yeah, definitely,
absolutely.
And so the most important for a boss,
you're the Joker.
The most important thing for the boss to be
sometimes
is organized and efficient. Like you have to have a system for everything.
Yeah.
And the best way to indoctrinate someone into a system is to explain the system to them.
Yes, exactly.
So, like, I am totally on your side as a manager who is in charge of other people. You gotta tell them why, or else they're just gonna be like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Or even if, like, I tell them all the time, if you have questions, ask me. If you think it's dumb, I'll tell you why it's not, or I'll tell you why we have to do it anyways. Like, when you make a snack wrap at McDonald's, you have to squirt the ranch in an M.
For McDonald's.
Yeah, there's no actual reason. It's very arbitrary.
It doesn't make a difference.
But the guy that signs my paycheck says so you got to do it.
Right.
And
consistency.
So, like, even though, that's not a real answer, at the same time, it is an answer.
It's why you have to do it.
There's rules and procedures. Sometimes you just got to follow them.
Right.
And that makes our one-time guest a really good employee because that was a good explanation.
Yeah, so maybe that's just me, like, having problems with authority.
I think it's because you've never been a boss of anything.
Maybe.
So
I feel like if I were a boss...
that side of everything.
I feel like if I were a boss, I have my ideas of the way
because
things
having been on the other side of this, I'm like, I can give you plenty of reasons why you don't say anything.
Yeah.
And you just have to say no to do what I'm asking.
As actors, we all know that. When a director says something, you say, yes. And
I'll figure it out.
If it's a big problem enough, you to a boss or to a director go, hey boss or hey director, can we like talk for a second
to figure it out?
Right.
I would
but normally you would just say yes.
Right.
Okay.
And it depends on the employee as well. Like,
oh my god,
there are some employees that just like you got to tell them do this, you got to puppet them. And there are other employees that's like, hey, I need to take trash out. I mean, there are bees out there and I'm allergic. Okay, that's a great point to bring up. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
Someone else do it.
Exactly. But if you were like, you are my employee, go take the trash out, and now you have a dead employee. That's extreme.
Every employee is responsible for making sure that they feel respected.
Right.
And I mean, the boss should respect people inherently, but like...
Everyone's different and everyone's views of respect are...
I mean, if you're not in a union, you are your own union.
Right.
Yeah. Be your own advocate.
That was a great quote.
So,
I like that. My peeve?
You have a peeve
I guess I don't really know how to phrase this peeve. I just don't understand how people of our generation are going to own houses and have children and live successfully. I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I honestly don't.
Yeah, money.
In what regard?
Money.
Don't, right. But like, because millennials are lazy?
No, I just think the job market has changed over time and houses are crazy and I don't understand.
Okay. For a second, I thought we were going to have a millennial conversation.
No, we're not.
I'm like, oh,
we are
man.
It's not because of
I don't blame us. I blame
of...
baby boomers, but...
Yeah, baby boomers.
Millennials don't exist, by the way. Baby boomers don't exist, by the way. Like, no, I mean, literally they exist, but like generational stereotypes exist because they're stereotypes, and they're like, and of course every generation thinks the next generation is the worst thing since, Satan, but...
Right. I'm gonna put a link to the comments about, based on this, not based on the money thing, but it's, I think it's Akilah Obviously might be the YouTuber, I don't remember, but she does this video where she says, here's like articles about millennials by baby boomers or other generations, what they're saying, what the literal headline is or what the thing is, and then like what that means. And it's usually stuff like, I saw this millennial come in, he didn't do any work, he was on his phone the whole time, and then he left, and it's like, no baby boomer has ever done a bad job at anything. Next. Right. It's like there are no baby boomers who are just assholes who just don't respect other people.
Yeah, sometimes there are people that are young that are dicks.
Yeah, sometimes there are people
old people who are dicks too.
Right, exactly.
Everyone's dick, so let's just get over it.
Yeah, going back
so I just honestly don't know.
Yeah, it's
I don't know if it's because there's like through that generation to ours, more people have gone to college, so more people are in student debt, and like, I don't know. I have honestly no idea.
It's student debt, like the current, not theories. It's not theory because it's based on like really
numbers,
kind of hard data, but the current
idea
about student debt being so high isn't necessarily just because that there are more students going to college, though there are more students going to college
because they kind of instilled that
paying into the system. Its cost of living, cost of living is going up incrementally, and it always has. The federal money going to state universities is decreasing, so tuition is going up. Not in relation to the incremental increases in cost of living.
Yeah.
For example, when my mom was in college, her undergrad in the late 80s, tuition for 1 year at U of M, it makes me want to puke, $2,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But cost of living.
Cost of living was far lower, and I don't have the exact.
The ratios.
But, yeah, cost of living. The cost of living right now, I believe the living wage right now is around like $800 a week. Okay.
Yeah.
$800 a week.
Well, when you factor in that I have to pay my student loans and I have to pay my car payment and my phone and kinda. Yeah.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, like, are we getting paid $800 a week?
No.
No, that's what I'm saying. Cost of living is $800 a week.
I mean, I'm close.
We're not getting,
but
I'm not.
Yeah, neither am I. But tuition is gonna be, for me, this next year, is gonna be, because there has been an increase of tuition.
Shit, right about $12,000, isn't it?
It's gonna be around $12,000.
Yeah.
per semester,
Yeah.
A year.
per year.
Is it the year?
A year. Because
Okay.
it's, because, I mean,
Because you're not living
with
on
right,
campus. That's
with
why.
our university, it's
Oh,
full credit hours, like full, like between 12 and like 18 is somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, and it's a definite thing. Even the small generation between my parents and your parents,
Mm-hmm.
neither of my parents went to college, so neither of them had any debt.
Right.
And
Right.
so immediately got a house, got all this
Right.
awesome stuff. Your parents, I don't know what they did. Well, I do know what they did, but
Yeah, they just were not smart with money and got.
and
a
your
lot of
mother
debt.
is continuing to go to school. It's just like, when's enough enough? When are you going to quit digging the hole that you're in
Right.
and try and dig yourself out? But
Well, that's
Will I
really
ever
what I
dig-
think it
will I
comes
ever dig
down
myself
to
out?
with your concern about our generation and like balancing a house and a car and a family and the debt we carry in before we have any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Is just being smart with the money,
Yeah.
understanding your own limits based on what you make.
Yeah.
Which there's lots of resources out there that tell you, like the projected, this is what percentage of your income should be your house payment. This is what you should plan for like a food budget or for, just basic budgeting, which is why I think that should be a very important thing in high schools.
Yes.
yes,
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I think home ec is one of the least utilized classes, but it should be like super fucking important.
I just came up with an amazing question for future podcasts.
Like I happened to be fortunate enough that for my math elective, I didn't want to take fucking calculus, so I took a class called personal finance,
Nice.
and
Nice.
it's all about how do you buy a house, how do you buy a car,
I think-
what's a good deal, and I'm like, oh, this is so important.
Right.
And that's why I got my first credit card, so I could start to play
Build
my credit
credit.
rating.
Yeah.
And
That's
my
why-
credit rating is in like the 800s, and I work
Nice,
at fucking
beautiful.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
because you're yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
I think that, because I took that class, not with you, but
Yeah.
just like a year later. And in today's economic climate and like with what's going on just in general with our country, I think that should be a required.
Definitely.
If you are at like a university that offers this class, I think that should be like, you have to take that as a freshman. You have to, instead of giving you that bullshit like freshman like experience class, they give you like a personal finance class and like I don't know, like
A no means no class.
Mm.
I'm just saying, man, there is...
yeah.
And that you don't need to eat lunch every day on campus. Like, that needs to be a class in itself. But, yes,
Right,
your
right.
class is definitely more important.
But no, like, we just live... The world has changed since our parents' generation.
Mm-hmm.
And they think it hasn't.
Right.
Because to them, they still have
their house and their car.
Right, they have their lifestyle already established, but for us, we're growing up in a transitional time.
Yeah.
Like, this is the time of globalization. This is the time where the world is more connected because of the advances of technology.
Right.
I mean, it's just a different world we live in, and we need to all the quote-unquote millennials,
Yeah.
if you're gonna spend thousands of dollars educating yourself at a college, educate yourself about more than just your graphic design degree or your accounting degree. Educate yourself about more things. Learn how the world works. Learn how your world works. Learn what you have to do to get your shit together.
Yeah, definitely.
I just know that's something that, like, we see where we could be better, and we see where we could be worse.
Right. Right.
And it's very scary. I hate the thought even though I have a 401k and I start all this stuff, but like, if my car broke down or just something like that happens where you have to buy a new fridge or whatever, like that could break some people.
Oh yeah.
That literally could break
I had to buy,
I can't.
when I was living with Bachman, I had to buy a car and it fucked me up.
Yeah.
I ended up having to move back in with my parents because I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's what I fear the most.
And I'm even smarter with money. I just got screwed.
It's just what happens. Like I just threw a bachelorette party last weekend, and all we did was go to a town near us and like sightsee and stuff, and stayed at a hotel. So I charged the girls like $70 for the whole weekend. Pretty good deal. And this one girl from Canada is like, I had an unexpected $100 charge on my bridesmaid's dress to get it into Canada. So I don't think I can come to the bachelor party. And I'm just like, $100 is really going to break you? That's kind of scary. Yeah. Like, that's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that. So that's my peeve. I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
It just annoys
I would
me.
also advise millennials to take advantage of the fucked up housing market. Like, I find houses all the time for under 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just because either, A, they need some work, which we have YouTube. You can look up how to do everything on YouTube.
You don't need to call a mechanic and have them fix your entire house and just go to sleep.
But then you're ruining the local job market because you're not hiring.
That's true,
but trust me, my uncle is a contractor, just started his own business, cannot stop having work. He overbids to try and not get jobs, still gets the jobs.
Oh. Maybe I should be a contractor.
Well, it's because in Michigan, during the economic collapse, every carpenter moved to the southern states where there was more work. Mm-hmm. So now there's just a shortage of carpenters. So, hey, there you go, millennials, be a carpenter.
Which is now, a new generation does not have to go to college. They can go to trade school or whatever, and that's really cool for them. And they're probably going to be better off than I am.
I'm going to say something. I think I've said it on the podcast before. Just warning, like, I'm not an asshole, I swear.
Uh-huh.
If everyone goes to college, who's going to pick up my garbage?
Exactly.
No, that's definitely true.
Who's gonna...
Or not my garbage, but, like, garbage. If everyone goes to college, who's gonna pick up the garbage?
No, that's exactly it. We've pushed all these kids to go to... That they have to go to college to make something of themselves.
Or else they'll be garbage men.
Right, and some of them go and burn a bunch of money and never find out what they're gonna do when they could go to a trade school, go to this, learn this trade, do it. We do need those people.
Although I will say that we are... a unique class of people in it's not just our area, but in the world.
Like a socioeconomic class you're talking about?
Yeah, maybe not like middle class or like low class or whatever, but like just type of person, I guess. Where we are like, we have these aspirations and dreams and we want our lives to be these amazing things. There are so many people that are just like, this is fine. Like, I'll just be a
blind sheep.
Yeah, like they'll just like that. That is an astoundingly large number of people that'd be like, Game of Thrones is on. It's like, oh, that's some weird like sword show. I don't care. Like, I like Duck Dynasty. That's a show I can get behind.
Oh God!
Kick back and drink a beer and watch Duck Dynasty.
Alternatively,
I think that's a Midwest thing.
Alternatively, I think there are people that go home and watch Game of Thrones and go, "Yes, this is my entertainment.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying this. This is all I need to be fulfilled."
Yeah, yeah.
There are plenty of people that I know that their life, their real life, is not their job or their education. It's time outside of that. And that individual goes to the job to make money to live their life.
That's how I live.
Right. Yeah, as opposed to, this is my career.
And I enjoy
this. This fulfills me.
Right.
Oh, I also have a family, or I also have Game of Thrones. And, I mean, both lifestyles are perfectly valid. It's whatever the individual, but
which is better? I want to know.
I think that is completely subjective.
Yeah, I mean, it's
case by case.
It really depends on what you want to get out of
Yeah, like, if you are fulfilled by whatever, great, do that. But also, if you are fulfilled by that, and say, a college education, and, having a job that, let's face it, you're probably never going to have, isn't going to fulfill you, and you know that, don't.
Yeah.
Right. Don't just for the sake of money.
Or just to please your parents,
going to put yourself in debt. Right.
Definitely.
You're going to put yourself in debt. You're going to be miserable. God, that sounds horrible.
No, I mean,
no,
but that's
I sound like an asshole.
No, you
but
don't. I think it's something that people need to say.
My mom went to college. She has 2 accounting degrees. She has not used either of them because she got a temp job
Yeah.
And then moved up into management by just being a good employee.
Yeah.
My dad only took like a couple classes, never got a degree, and he's running a shop just because he's a good employee. Like, college isn't the only way to
Are they happy?
I would say they're those people that like...
They're the ones that go to work. And then they live for the weekend.
Yeah, their life is when they're home.
Right. And
I work so I can afford my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, the thing is that education's not the only way. And I'm not going to say don't go to college, because even if you just go take college classes on a whim just because they sound interesting, like...
Or to educate yourself.
Right. If you can afford it, do it. Screw it. Why not?
It's an experience.
Yeah, definitely.
That is worth having.
If you don't know if you want to be a computer programmer, you're doing something just for the money, like... If you want to go into nursing because it's a high-paying job...
Fuck you.
Don't.
Yeah.
Get a different high-paying job that doesn't involve putting yourself in medical school debt.
Definitely.
Because, like, it gets out of hand fast. If you're going for a job just for the money, take an hour, hit up Google, look for other jobs that pay well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a lot.
You said what I was trying to say, but way nicer, which is a weird reverse for us.
Right.
And two of our listeners both got the same because they took it in differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone.
So that was my peeve.
Yeah, who else has a
Good talk,
peeve?
though.
Man, I really hate people who bitch about things.
I have terrible news for you. Guys, what's the name of the podcast?
I guess we can't be friends. It's bitching cues, didn't you know?
Yeah, you have to go. You have to leave.
All right.
This is why you're the one-time guest.
Specifically. Yeah.
Sorry.
So
That was perfect.
That was great, yeah.
I've been sitting on that one for a minute. But so I'm at work, and this is just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We have a guy, he's newer, his name's he's a good employee, he does his job well, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Does some silly things, but that's because he's 19 and dumb. No, really,
I know exactly what you mean.
He has a list of the women we work with that he wants to sleep with, and he told someone about it, and now everyone makes fun of him for it.
I hate this.
Only makes fun of him for it?
Only makes fun of him. Well, because he doesn't, he's not aggressive, he doesn't flirt with any, he just...
But he just, secretly has this list, on his phone.
Right,
He's just
these
like
women I
Steve
wanna
Buscemi
bang,
creepy.
yeah.
He's not like Jason Voorhees creepy. He's Steve Buscemi.
Right.
That's not okay.
That's weird. But, so he
I'm
wants...
just picturing Steve
What's up, guys? I'm 19.
Let me flip these burgers.
working at McDonald's having like a fuck fest.
Yeah.
Like a just...
Hey guys, look at my list.
He crosses them off with lipstick whenever he...
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so
Does
he wants...
this guy look like Steve Buscemi?
No, he's your typical attractive 19-year-old dude.
I hate him.
Good-looking dude.
Yeah. For multiple reasons now.
But
Because he could probably get those.
So he wants to move up in the store from crew member to crew trainer and eventually to management. Which, crew trainer, yeah, sure. Management, get rid of the fuck list.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah. But, so our store has a very interesting policy where if you are
creepy,
if you're
woman,
Steve Buscemi.
if you're a woman, you generally start up front, and if you're a guy, you generally start in the grill.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the very real statistical anomaly that pretty people just make customer service better.
That's not an anomaly.
It's a real thing. Women are better representatives for a customer service-based industry than men are. I don't know why.
That makes complete sense. Because if I go up to the counter and there's this really good-looking guy, I'm going to feel like shit ordering food from him. But I'm sure a guy walking up to a pretty girl is not going to give a fuck what he's ordering, but he's going to be like, this is a really attractive person.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's just a thing. And now if you're a female and you start up front, you can just move up. They don't care. Yeah. But if you're one of the guys that starts in grill and you want to move up, they want you to learn up front. Because if you're moving up to crew trainer, the idea is that you'll eventually become a manager and you need to know all that stuff.
Definitely.
So he's, for the past couple of weeks, been like, hey, I need to go up front so I can learn it, so I can get promoted. I need to go up front. And then yesterday, we put him up front.
Oh, no.
Now, he's been up front several times. He knows
Does now
what
he have
he's doing.
a list of customers?
Yeah.
No. Now he just
What's
hates
his level
being
of sass?
up there.
Oh, yeah.
Was his level of sass like way too high?
He tries to keep up with me, and it doesn't go well for him.
Oh.
I meant to the customer.
Oh, no, he has no trouble with customers. Like, he's perfectly fine. Like I said, he's a good employee. He's just...
So he's,
you know,
so he's been
He
bitching about
he just bitches sometimes. It's like, you got exactly what you asked for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are you
here's your
talking
bed, now
about?
lie in it.
That kind of thing is very different.
Get your shit together, millennial scum.
You mentioned, like, you don't know why women are better at, like, PR stuff. I think I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts, you guys. Take a shot, because I think I say that, like, 3 times an episode. And as somebody who listens to a lot of podcasts, I hear, like, a lot
You're better than me?
I do think I'm better than you. In fact, I listen to more podcasts. That's a clear sign.
It's the only indicator.
Yeah, it's literally the only thing that matters. But I have a lot of, like, different people's perspectives on, like, that I hear about, like, different people living different lives, and like, here's how things are for me. And I hear, like, a lot of women have this thing where they feel like, especially in their field or just in life, they feel like they have to, like, be more sorry about things, or they need to, like, be more, not submissive, but, like, just kind of, like, just accommodating for men's egos, because...
Oh, I wonder where we got that from.
Yeah, I mean, men being assholes.
Yeah.
But it's just like, all the amount of times I listen to a podcast and a woman has, like, a dissenting opinion and she follows it up with, sorry, like, she's apologizing for having a different opinion. And
okay,
it's not...
I won't say that.
No, I mean...
Sorry, I won't say that anymore.
So I think part of the reason that women are better at PR is because they're just better at accommodating people and being like, I'm going to make you feel good in this conversation because that's what my role as a woman is. Not because they feel like they have to do that for men.
Just hearing the phrase coming out of your mouth, my role as a woman.
Oh, well,
I mean,
sorry.
it is unfortunately true, but yeah, it does suck.
But, like, even me, as a straight white male in middle America, even that made me go... Ooh.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not speaking for...
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking for women, I'm just saying this is what I've heard.
Oh, you're speaking for women now.
No, I'm saying this is what I've heard.
I don't think you can. With that thing between your legs, you can't speak for us.
Okay.
How dare you try and be feminist on this podcast, Alex?
I guess I've learned my lesson.
We certainly haven't tried to be feminist.
You don't get to
before.
support women's rights. You have a penis.
That's right.
Anywho.
I have heard that argument, and it pisses me off.
Same.
But we cannot. We could spend a whole episode.
Yeah, this is
not good.
We're already going long.
Anyway.
So definitely, I agree.
Yeah, bitching.
There's a certain kind of, like, just complaining where you're just being petty and like...
And like I bitch about work. Like, we'll get a customer with a crazy order and I'm like, fuck you, guy.
yeah.
But like...
But you do it.
It's meant to be silly or funny or like a release. It's not just complaining to get my way.
Yeah.
Which I think that's what to me makes bitching. Like that's the difference between this, where we're just talking about things, and bitching like, I want my way, so I'm going to complain until they give it to me.
Do you know what people that works for? Pretty people, and that's annoying. So that guy probably has had that his entire life.
We have a manager who is an objectively pretty person.
Male or female?
Female.
Not that it matters. I just wanted to know.
Right. Oh my god, that is her tactic.
Is it?
At least once a day, towards like the last couple hours of her shift, she'll say something like, I'm broken. I need to go home. And then she does not shut the fuck up.
That is a great impression.
I'm broken?
I'm broken.
Yeah.
Did she say that?
She does.
What does that mean?
It means that she gave up. She doesn't want to work anymore.
She's broken.
You can't be broken if you know that you're broken.
But basically, it's like...
I thought you were going to punch me. That was
I was
really
about
scary.
to. I was about to.
I just hate
to fly.
Yeah, he's talking about what women's roles are. Now that's going to put you in place.
Yeah, don't move. I'm mad at this conversation, so I have to punch something. Very good. Yes, I agree. Do we want to move on, please?
Yeah.
Before Connor has a heart attack.
I don't know if I can be on the show anymore.
Girlfriend's going to listen to him and be like, what kind of trash is
Yeah, right.
this?
Oh my god, if your mother heard this podcast.
Hi, Quackman's mother.
How's it going?
Anyway, I've been trying to find a way to, this entire time, how to, like, phrase this peeve.
Yeah.
And I just think I have to just explain it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I recently closed a show that I was stage managing.
Which was great.
Thank you. I have opinions.
I mean, me too. But they're my friends, so
right?
it was great.
We can talk after the show. I'm glad the audience enjoyed it. The process getting there was rough, and the thing specifically that I'm going to talk about is something that the director decided to do. She added something to the show, which is going to go really well with my question.
Yeah.
This is a show that is, I think, as entertaining to read as it is to see. You don't always come across scripts like that. But this script was very clearly intended that when a reader reads it...
Can we know what show it is?
Yeah, A Hand to God by Robert Askins.
Okay.
When they read the descriptive action, it sets the tone, particularly at the tops and bottoms of the scene. Mm-hmm. I'm the stage manager, so at the first read-through, it's my job, or was my job, to read all of the necessary descriptive action, which is at the top and bottom of scenes.
Yeah.
I'm also an actor.
Right.
And it just so happened that a lot of actors that I have worked with a lot in the past were in this show. So I'm like, great. I don't have to be this stiff, like, stage manager, like, a stickler for the rules. I can have fun with these people because I know them, they know me.
They're your friends.
I trust them. So when I read it, I did a thing. Like, I tried to make... Right.
Did some voice acting.
I tried to get them engaged as much as possible during a read-through, which sometimes is just really hard to do. And the director liked my reading so much of these tops, particularly the tops of scenes, that she added a voiceover.
Oh, good. That's good.
That she wanted me to do.
That is insulting to the playwright.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is more, what I was going to say is more in line with the question, and I'll get there. Particularly how she wanted me to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny. The reason it was funny, and continued to be funny in rehearsals, was because it was an inside joke.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, we're doing this because at the read-through, this was funny, and this made a good tone.
And
like
we're all actors, and we all understand.
Right, exactly.
Like
it's the inside joke is what made it funny, and by making it a voiceover. And to me, I'm in the light and sound booth first day of Tech Week, and we have people in the house coming to see the show because they couldn't, for whatever reason, come during the weekend. And they're not laughing at these.
Right.
And these things, the way she wanted me to read them were very clear, like, oh, these are going to be like the things that engage people into the scene.
Yeah. And that puts you in a real awkward spot.
Oh,
the one
yeah. She asked me if she could put my name in the cast list at the bottom as narrator, and I said, please don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she, of course, didn't understand why, and I don't want to tell her, because your idea is shit, and that's my name now.
Because the boss is not listening to their employees.
Right. I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
So asking someone, this is not my question, but like directing like my peeve by asking a question to someone who saw the show and enjoyed it. You say you enjoyed it. What was the weakest part of the show? Actually, I'm not going to open that up. Okay. Let me rephrase that. Did the voiceovers work at all?
One did.
The first one?
No.
Not the first one. Technically.
So then that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because some shit happens and the narrator
really fucking up.
The narrator takes a tank.
Oh, yeah.
I think... I don't think her initial premise was flawed. I don't think it worked as well as she thought it would have. But I get why, and honestly, I kind of like the idea because of the script, the way it's written.
Yeah.
All of your stage directions are essentially the playwright talking to you as the actor.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting, like when you just visually read it, to have the playwright's own thoughts on the scene he just wrote.
Yeah.
And so for an audience member, it was really cool. But really the only time it added to the story was after that scene. But you can't just do it once, you gotta do it through the whole show, or else then it's just this weird, what the fuck was that moment?
For example, there's a prologue and then there's the first scene. At the top of the first scene, the lights come up, and you hear my stupid voice saying, The lights come up on the basement of a church.
Mm-hmm.
The basement of a church in Texas. Basement of a church in Cypress, Texas. Yeah, that's the voice you wanted me to use.
Zapp Brannigan?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Awesome.
Channeling Zapp Brannigan a lot. I dialed it down quite a lot. So I don't want
you did.
I didn't want people thinking, oh, that's Zapp Brannigan.
Yeah, he's just doing Zapp, yeah.
But that's how it's written in the script, and it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, it's line, basement of a church, period. Basement of a church in Texas, period. Basement of a church. Like, and that's funny.
Yeah.
When you're reading it.
The playwright would have put that in the script if that is what they wanted.
Yeah.
I just can't get over that.
Right.
Yeah.
There are shows that are like that, and they are hilarious because of that. Because the playwrights put them in.
Well, speaking as a playwright, and having done a lot of research on this playwright, because I did a studio scene from this same play, so I had to do a lot of research on it.
That's like a scene study for listeners.
I feel like he would actually enjoy it, and I, as a playwright, am like, no, it's really cool, because it's really...
You to judge that, though. You are not the playwright.
I mean, that's true, but it's really interesting to see the different things people can do with what's in the script. And just having a feel for this guy and his style, I feel like that's a choice he would have made.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's why he wrote it, not to be done as a narration, but like he, as the writer, trying to make the reader laugh.
Yeah.
And so it's just taking that next step, and whether it does or doesn't work is all very conditional. I don't think it worked for that production because of its market. I think you put that in Seattle or in Chicago or in something where comedy and alt theater stuff is a bit more popular. I think that kills.
Maybe.
So that leads me straight into my question.
Good.
How much is too much artistic license? Or how much is like...
Oh boy, you guys disagree with me.
This is a good question.
Like how much is too much?
Yeah, okay. Do you want to...
Legally, there's an answer to that, but...
Right, well
actually, that's really interesting. Legally speaking, you can adjust a script. You can.
You usually have to notify whoever your publishing house is.
For major changes, yes. For additions like our voiceover, we didn't have to.
Right.
Gender bending, you usually don't have to.
Removing
foul
language.
Removing sections from a script, as long as it doesn't change the story, you're usually okay. But in that case, if you're removing any more than 3 or 4 lines at a time out of a script, you're going to want to notify them anyway. They may just go, okay, but you want to do that anyway. So yeah, like my example is like these voiceovers.
Yeah.
Like, while yes, I think they could have worked, they didn't. Not with this production of the show, not in this market.
Setting.
Right? But to me, like, her artistic vision, folding that in, that was like, for me, that was, you're not bucking the system. You're not changing the show.
Right.
But what you are doing is changing the show enough that this isn't the same production. If you can change something and have it be the same story and have it be the same, like, production, the same kind of show,
right,
that's fine in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, gender bending 12 Angry Men,
yeah, doesn't
fine.
change what
Changing a couple lines for the gender bend is fine. Or
removing the N-word from Huck Finn.
Yeah.
Like,
or
it's a choice that some people make.
Or in the case of the show I'm directing in the fall at U of M, I asked my professor if I could take out like half a page of dialogue in the beginning because it totally destroyed the premise of one of the characters.
Oh, yeah.
2 characters, and she's like, yeah, we have to get permission. And we got back and like, yeah, you can do that. And like, that was fine. Nothing changed about the show.
Right.
But for me, these voiceovers changed the show.
Yeah.
And it was, anyway, so that's mine.
Well, I don't have as much experience in theater as you.
That's whatever. I mean, this could be like theater, this could be music, this could like whatever.
So I guess my thing would be like adaptations of things.
Sure.
For example, Game of Thrones or like Watchmen or whatever, which those are 2 very good examples of like opposite ends of the spectrum where Watchmen has been accused of literally just being the graphic novel, but in motion form on screen. And some people are like, why bother? There's already the comic. We would just read the comic if we wanted the comic. We wanted something new. But then you get like Game of Thrones, you have the character of Jaime, who at this point is so far removed from what the book version of Jaime is that it's like...
And I love it.
These aren't the same character. Like, the whole thing, there's a scene in the show where he pushes aside the book, like the white book that has the list of like all the achievements of the Kingsguard members, to have sex with Cersei. And the whole thing in the book is like he's now more concerned with his legacy and what he's going to do in the world, how he's going to be important. And he's falling out of love with his horrible evil sister who is just using and manipulating him because they're bad for each other. And so the whole thing in the books is like he's turning away from her and going towards like this idea of what kind of man is he. And in the show, they literally represented the opposite of that point by having him push aside the book so he could have sex with his sister.
And so that was their artistic...
Right, and that was them. Yeah. That was their exercising artistic license and creative liberty and everything. And like, is that the same character even at this point? Like, they've changed things so much, and not just that character, but in the whole series. Like, what they're going in a completely different direction. Can it be even considered the same show? Mm-hmm. Could they, in like 15 years, or probably the next book might be out by then.
Well, is Game of Thrones ever stated based on the book?
Yes.
Fire and Ice. When? Where?
At
the beginning of every show?
Well, no.
Yeah.
No.
Based on A Song of Ice and Fire by George.
Okay, they do it.
That word, based.
Right. I'm not saying that they have... This is the whole thing. I'm not complaining. What you're saying. I'm kind of complaining
He's not bitching. But
So are you saying that even with all of these major changes to character and to story...
Right.
You're okay with that?
This is okay?
Yeah. It's
why?
Well, it's because they're... It depends on how it ends, and since the books haven't ended, we don't know. But I would argue that if they both end and they're telling the same message, if they're telling the same story, just with these vast changes... then I would say, yeah, it's the same, even though they've completely taken it off the rails, off the track, off the railroad, George Railroad.
So like using Game of Thrones as an example, are you saying that creative license, even in the extreme, is okay so long as the core of something, whether it's a song, whether it's a movie or an adaptation.
It depends on
whether the theme is intact.
Yeah, the theme.
Yeah, the core story, the core.
And in this case, I would say Game of Thrones as a whole, speaking holistically, yes, it's still the same so far. Individual characters' journeys have, like I said about Jaime, is completely just like reversed and have been the opposite, and that's frustrating. But in terms of like the whole thing, I think they are still telling the story. It's really, what does the original artist or the original creator, what are they trying to do, and is that still being serviced in the new?
It's actually really interesting that you bring that up, especially like theater, like the original artist.
Yeah,
like one could argue that the playwright is the original artist, but like a play is nothing without the players.
Yeah. Like the director and the actors.
The audience.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's why, like, some productions are so vastly different with, whether it's because of artistic license or aesthetic choices or actor choices or whatever, because even this quote-unquote original artist of the playwright, the play is just a blueprint.
Yeah.
Is just the first collaborator.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Who built the house? The guy who drew up the blueprints or the guy that put the wood in?
Right.
Yeah.
You need both.
Yeah.
I like following the rules as much as possible.
Yeah.
I do when I direct shows or I'm a part of the production team. I do change some things. I think literal choreography is your artistic license and that type of thing, and your comedic timing and stuff like that, and like what you physically do. Changing the verbal lines, I think, is too far. Cutting them, removing that, that's different. And you fit
gender of a character.
And you fit that to where you live and what you think your audience is gonna like,
and the story that you're trying to tell with the story that you're given. Yeah, But adding lines that change the story, I don't like, or that type of stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes it gets a little hard for theater because like actors will just say a line differently than it's written. Like if the playwright has like very literal and like decides to write like, she murdered him or whatever, and then the actor just says she killed him, and they're like, there's a very specific reason, like, as a writer, I choose words very carefully, like, each word matters. I chose those words for a reason, and if the actor just says something different, it's not a huge deal.
So, I have two answers to this as two different people. There's me, the artist, and me, the viewer of art.
Yeah.
Me, the artist, says, fuck it. I hate author intent. It doesn't exist. Anything I write is open and fair game. If you can find something that I didn't intend, that's good on you.
You're gonna really hurt yourself there, but
the viewer of art in me, who has seen the Percy Jackson books be made into two terrible, god-awful movies, is like, no!
Yeah.
And using the book to movie as the example, right? I know a lot of people get mad about Harry Potter because there was so much content cut out.
Right.
Listen, we don't need to sit there for 4 hours.
But
we are Peeves and Q's, so we need a moment of silence for Peeves. Peeves, the poltergeist, was not in this movie.
But
thank you, that was very
what
funny.
they did
Thank you.
was they would edit out world building and just stick to the narrative.
Yeah.
And that is how you do an adaptation from long books into movies which have a certain time limit. Then there's what Percy Jackson did, which took relatively short books. None of them are very much over 200 pages. Like, they're pretty short reads. Mm-hmm. And they just, like, early 90s rad kid them.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, I swear to God. So, the second book has a beautiful, heartfelt opening where your protagonist has this homeless kid going to his private school on some sort of, like, charity help the homeless kid type of thing. Mm-hmm. And he befriends him because they're both kind of outsiders. And it turns out that this kid's a Cyclops, which, as our protagonist is the son of Poseidon, makes him his half-brother, because Poseidon is the father of Cyclops. So they have this really cool connection, both as family and just coincidentally, like they were fated to meet.
So he's Havoc?
However...
Yes.
Okay, cool.
However, then there's what the movie did.
Yeah.
Which was, he was kind of there one day. He walked up on the beach and said, hey, I'm your brother. And there's this really great moment where they're fighting a brazen bull, which is this big mythological thing that breathes fire. Mm-hmm. And Tyson, the name of the Cyclops, fights it because he's a Cyclops. They're very strong. Mm-hmm. And he beats it, but this thing breathes fire on him. Everyone's like, oh my God, he's dead. Well, Cyclops are immune to fire because they work forges under the ocean. It's a whole thing.
It's a thing.
It's a very beautiful, unknown chunk of myth that they dug into, and it was very smart of the author to do so. But in the movie, he, swear to God, puts on sunglasses and says, similar to this line reading, Cyclops don't feel fire. It's like, no! No!
They probably feel fire.
No, you took...
They feel it in their hearts.
You took what one of the camp counselors or mentors says about Cyclops that we learn as an audience in a really cool way, and you just put sunglasses on it, you fucking idiot.
In this instance, what was the license that was, what was the artistic license that
basically
was,
they changed the tone of the story. Because it's meant to be fantastical, but it's also meant to be deeply personal. And instead they tried to make it really cool rather than just honest and, human.
Sure.
Because this is an awkward teenager stumbling through world-changing events. And so it's deeply personal, and it's really relatable. But then they tried to make it super cool for the kids. Yeah. And I was like, ugh,
here's where me and I would say other directors, for example, David Lynch, who I'm going to call out right now. If you're listening, Dave.
Who's directed what?
A lot of stuff. Twin Peaks. He did the Twin Peaks show.
X-Files.
Okay.
He didn't really do X-Files.
No?
That was Chris Carter or something. But he did Mulholland Drive. He's done a lot of movies and stuff. And he's more about the tone and the feeling of something than the story of it, which is very frustrating for me as somebody who is what you're trying to say and your message is more important than what it feels like. I would say tone is secondary to meaning.
Tone aids.
Yeah, it can back it up.
The thing of it,
right? But it's not the thing. If you can come up with a different tone, a different take on it that services the same message, good. Yeah. If you change the tone arbitrarily to make it seem, well, not arbitrarily because they had a reason, but
box office sales. Why not?
Yeah, right. If it doesn't service, if it's not in service to your story, then it does fall flat. For example, sunglasses on a sunglass, which I have to believe is just like a dark monocle.
Well, he has this special spray that makes it look like he has two eyes because
good. That's good.
Of course he
I'm glad.
does.
Well, he has that in the book too, so he can blend it in the human world.
No, because effects are expensive. Yeah.
I mean, both.
This-
But in the book,
CGI is expensive.
CGI is expensive.
in the original canon, he has this spray to...
I gotta say, I'm loving this description of the books that I've never read before. It sounds insane.
You would really like these.
I'm
books.
surprised you haven't read them.
I've heard about them, but the movie sounded terrible, so I was like,
The
I don't
dude's
bother.
pen turns into a sword. His
it's
pen
mightier.
is mightier than the sword.
Nice.
I love it.
I haven't even seen the second one.
It
That
was
is
shit garbage.
Quite fascinating.
Yeah.
Have we answered your question, or have we at least talked?
You know, we all touched on like the thing of it, which was just talking about like artistic license and like
Yeah.
One more point I'd like to make
Sure.
that especially affects films and is what made me stop watching. I never finished the second Percy Jackson movie.
Oh, yeah.
There's a character named Clerisy who was the daughter of Ares.
Mm.
She is written as a big, boorish woman who is very, like, primal, like, think cave woman.
Yeah.
Or Amazon?
Yeah. Well, more specifically cave woman, because Amazons have a bit of grace to them.
Gotcha.
She is very much
Gotcha.
meant to be a clumsy, like, stab him with a spear. Robert Baratheon, but as a woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the movie, they cast this gorgeous, stunning actress,
I
and,
always
like,
do. Yeah.
her character is supposed to be a very specific thing.
What year did that come out? Do you know offhand?
2012, 2013?
it was after the 8th Harry Potter.
Those
Yeah.
are kind of recent-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Movie, not book.
we have taken like in the past like 3 to 4 years, we've taken a turn and we're actually starting to cast like.
But that's the
some
thing,
ugly
just
people, which
in
is
general,
exciting.
it's still, they're like, for example, I will say as an actor, I cannot play Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my character type. I could, however, play Romeo's best friend Benvolio. That's totally my character type. It's right there. I'll never play Benvolio because he's a leading man, even though he's a secondary character.
Yeah.
I'm not tall enough. I'm not fit enough. So I'll never play Benvolio. I'll never play Tybalt. Which I wouldn't because it wouldn't be a good fit for me as an actor, but like,
That's
I
the role
couldn't
that I would want to play, though.
because of my body type.
That really
And
sucks.
it's just
I don't have any
something that,
choices.
the idea that leading characters need to also be attractive people, even when it's not necessary to the character,
Right.
is an artistic license that I don't stand behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, we have a lot of plays recently, like, totally blanking on his name. You're directing one of his plays.
Neil LaBute.
Neil LaBute! I was thinking Eugene O'Neill, but I was like, that's not right.
No, totally
That's not right.
Yeah, Neil LaBute.
Neil LaBute writes, like, interrelationship plays.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's usually only 2 or 3 characters.
Yeah.
And since they're leading characters, they would be attractive. But most of these people are just average, everyday schmucks.
Hmm.
There's no reason for them to be pretty other than they're the leads.
I just read a story about, was it Kate Beckinsale, who was in the movie Pearl Harbor?
Yeah.
She played like this nurse in the 1920s, I think, is when Pearl Harbor happened.
December 7th, 1941.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, well, it's an even number.
It's just the other side of the Depression. No big deal.
She's
The other war. Yeah.
right, yeah. The other one. And what's his name? The director,
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay, yeah.
No way. Michael Bay did that?
Yeah. He told her that she needed to like work out and get in like shape.
Because Michael Bay's a fuckface.
Well, yeah, because he directs like big blockbuster Hollywood movies, hot, gorgeous women who are like super fit and everything.
Big explosion.
And she literally was like, this character, a nurse in the 40s, wouldn't do that. This character would not. I think she ended up doing it anyway because
It was because of a sex scene.
Okay, yeah, sure. But like the whole idea was like you have to be conventionally hot. You have to look like this.
That
and she's
was-
like, that doesn't make sense. I
That's-
wouldn't.
I'm sorry. I think you're done. I'm sorry. That movie was also made, what, in like
Like the 2000s.
yeah, 1999. And
Something
people, we were just so rough on everybody.
Right.
So,
definitely.
Yeah.
good point.
Definitely.
Your question.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
this one might take us a while to come up with. So if we want to skip to something else, so I'm stealing this question from another podcast, which is the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, which is a classic Doctor Who viewers podcast where they go through every episode, and they have like a question of the week every one, and I always think they're kind of lame, but this one I was like, that's very good. I'm stealing it, which is What are your 7 wonders of the sci-fi and fantasy world?
I have to think of all 7.
Oh.
You don't have to. If you can only come up with there are 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
So
sci-fi and fantasy?
Yeah,
So not like
and horror?
favorite, like 7 favorite, like fantasy, like whatever.
Here's where the interpretation comes in. You can answer this any way you want.
Answer?
Yes, mine. The way I interpret this question is what's something that in its own unit. What's something that's very.
I asked us this before.
I know. What's something that's very iconic and identifiable in our world, but also what I chose to take it as is in that universe is unique to itself. So, for example, my number 1, which I'm taking from, I'm probably going to take a lot of mine from what they've answered, various people on that podcast, the TARDIS from Doctor Who. There are other TARDISes, there are other time machines.
The Doctor's TARDIS.
Right, but the Doctor's TARDIS has been stated to be very unique in its world, like it exists. Much like the Doctor does, it is very unique. It's traveled with him for so long that it's kind of developed its own personality, and so the Doctor's TARDIS...
Can we just pick one?
Yeah, you can just pick one if you want. I will say... the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, because it is very, it's very powerful. It's the One Ring. I was trying to like cover my bases and be like a lot of different things. So, R2-D2 and C-3PO from Star Wars, which I understand those are 2 things. If I have to pick one, R2, obviously, but since they're pretty much
as
always
a unit,
one unit, they're rarely ever not together unless it's just for like a couple scenes or whatever. But, those 2, yeah, never mind.
Those 3. Okay, keep going.
3. Bender from Futurama. He's pretty unique.
Yeah, he is.
The DeLorean from Back to the Future. I know it's another time machine, which...
He's taking all the good ones. Like, it's just making me mad. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I have a very different list.
If you say mine, I'm going to be really mad. Keep going.
Okay.
You got 2 more.
I don't know if I can come up with 2 more.
Oh, then you don't have to.
Well,
I thought you already had them.
No, I mean, I've just kind of been... I had a list. Oh, I was going to do 1 from Harry Potter. I was going to choose the Elder Wand, because while has to be one of the Deathly Hallows, and while the Invisibility Cloak and the Resurrection Stone are cool or whatever, a wand can do just like anything, and since this wand is super powerful, the Elder Wand. Yeah, and I guess, do I have another one? I'm sure there's one that I'm just not thinking of. Dolores from Westworld. She's pretty unique. Oh, yeah. 7 wonders of sci-fi and fantasy. If you can't think of stuff.
The dinosaurs from Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Because I don't really care what
Which
other...
one?
Jurassic Park.
No,
which dinosaur?
yeah, which
T-Rex. Because any other T-Rex
of course,
see...
right.
Yeah.
Or like just like the cloning process, or like
The fact that they made
the
dinosaurs.
I guess.
yeah.
But when I see, I can tell that's a Jurassic Park T-Rex.
Definitely, yeah.
And that is what I consider to be a real dinosaur, because it's probably the first one I ever saw.
Right.
But any other
Might not
dinosaur...
be the most accurate representation of
any
a T-Rex,
other,
but it's awesome.
Any other drawing, any other illustration, I'm just like, that is not a T-Rex.
That's an off-brand T-Rex.
Yeah,
We need the OG.
I need an OG. So, dinosaurs. I'm gonna say Scream was a very, wonder of its own horror world.
Oh, Ghostface?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sorry. Ghostface. That was definitely a new take on horror.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. If you don't have to come up with...
I'm gonna stick with those 2.
I have 2.
Uh-huh.
Now, when you say wonders of the sci-fi world, I think natural wonders.
It could be, yeah.
So for me,
I should have said Jaws.
it's the Wall from Game of Thrones.
Oh, that was...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was one of mine.
Because that is a massive...
Yeah.
Donald Trump would be so wet border wall.
Yeah, it would.
Donald Trump would be John.
It's like the combination of human engineering and magic.
Right.
Just a beautiful feat of industry.
And what I love about it is that it's been so long that we just don't really know
we
how
don't
it was
know.
built.
We just know that this amazing thing happened at some point.
Yeah.
And then it's Saren when he's the giant tower, yeah?
Sauron,
yes. Yeah. That. Like
Yeah,
volcano, a volcano that is also a
Right.
human soul. That's amazing.
Mount Doom.
Yeah, Mount Doom. Like, it's a human soul trapped inside a volcano. How is that not just a magical...
Is Sauron human?
feat?
I thought he was like a god or something.
He's an angel.
Okay.
Either way. Like,
Yeah, still.
And his soul is
being.
in the ring.
Well, but he's got like the giant eye and he can see everything.
Aren't they like connected? I thought they said like or
the eye's connected to the ring.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, just the concept of this fusing of soul with natural environment, and it's just this. I mean, it's a beautiful spectacle. Like the way they design it, even though it's grotesque, is beautiful.
Right.
So those two
That's
are
cool.
like some things that if they had popped up in the real world, I'd be a tourist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really hate, because now I'm thinking of really good ones.
Say it. Go back to it.
Like, Mount Crumpet from
Oh, yeah.
Seuss.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
Yeah. Even just that whole realm. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss was pretty original.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to say some things that other people said, you can.
Okay. Pride Rock from The Lion King.
Oh, yeah.
Which is real.
How iconic is that?
It's very
yeah.
Definitely.
And it's a real rock formation in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how, right, it is, I love how, exaggerated it is in the film.
Right.
The Doctor's TARDIS.
Yeah, it has to be.
Of course. That, or like the Sonic Screwdriver.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Could be. Or K9.
K9's not that.
The Enterprise.
Yeah.
Bag End.
Mm.
That's so
The Deluminator from Harry Potter.
Oh, right. Dumbledore's.
Let me just open up this reverse lighter and steal all the light.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Special mention, Bad Wolf Bay from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Like this beach that just so happens to be on a tear between alternate dimensions. I think that's pretty fantastical.
Oh, yeah.
There's some other fantasy things. I would also have to say The Wall.
Yeah.
And Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Is it the same?
/ Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. /
I was
Rey's
gonna ask, is it the same as Luke's? Because I know it's like your father would have wanted you to have this, but like when did he give that saber up in the prequels? Did we see that happen? Or was
Obi-Wan Kenobi picked it up.
Yeah.
From where?
His severed
When he picked it up.
I blocked most of the prequels.
That's all right.
I would. Oh, dang it! I just had one.
Oh.
Now it left. Oh, the Orca from Jaws, the ship.
Oh,
It's called the Orca.
Yeah. Yes, very good.
I mean, I could name like 20 others,
Right,
but like
right.
limiting it.
Yeah. I might add the Iron Throne to it
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
because it's very iconic in that world and everything.
Okay,
Cool. So, do you have a question for us?
I do. I today crossed off something on my bucket list that I really, truly never thought that I would, and it was we're going to a concert. I don't like concerts, and we're going to one.
So you bought tickets.
I bought tickets, which we're going. We're going.
So that's
There's
not
no turning
exactly
back.
crossing something
When are you
off
guys
of
going?
your bucket list.
When or where?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when, where, and what are you seeing? Yeah.
We're seeing Green Day
Green Day.
in Chicago
Nice.
in August.
Chicago.
Nice.
So we're very excited.
That's gonna be a great show.
And that's the only they're the only people I would ever want to see in concert, and I kind of want to do it because I just get this heavy feeling that one of them might die one day, and I won't have seen them.
I mean, yes.
Yeah,
That happens a lot.
no, but I mean like unexpectedly in a plane crash or like something like that.
Oh.
So
It'll be Billy Joel.
prematurely. Watch it be very cool.
Billy Joe, not Billy Joel. Billy Joe.
He'll probably
He'll probably die too.
I mean, eventually, yes.
Same plane crash. No big deal.
Yeah. It's,
Oh my,
Yikes.
what if?
What if Billy Joe and Billy Joel are flying separate planes and they
And they
crash
hit
into
each other.
But they're flying. They're not passengers. They're flying.
Buddy Holly all over again.
Yeah.
So what's the question?
What is something on your bucket list that you don't really know if you'll ever get to do?
I have one that actually ties to yours really well. I want to see an Eminem concert.
Huh.
Like, I'm a fan, and so...
Gosh, when's the last time he toured?
Tour?
He doesn't tour.
Yeah.
He'll do shows every now and then,
You would
but
think
he does not do tours. Like, he has his own record label now called Slim Shady Records, and they recently released an album called Slim Shady 15, but they have a song called Detroit versus Everybody, which is, an anthem about, like, rising up through hard times.
Yeah.
So him and most of the people with his label did a concert, and he did that, but he doesn't tour very often. His shows are insane. Like, just his raw ability as a performer, I've always wanted to see it in person. Cause like, it's not, like with rock shows, you get these really cool like pyrotechnics and all that awesome stuff. But I feel like for Eminem, it would just be so interesting to see him go up there and do his thing. And then have the off chance that maybe he just takes a minute to freestyle because he can fucking freestyle.
Really?
Like he can just stand there and make up rap songs on the spot and it sounds so good.
Sweet.
I just want to see it in person.
Well, I think you have a good chance because you do live in Michigan.
Right.
I would think that he would come here.
And I mean, if I ever I have this running daydream that if I ever get my shit together and actually learn how to conduct and compose music, that I'll make an album, and I would definitely send it to Slim Shady Records first.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a rapper, but it would happen.
Cool.
Yeah, awesome.
I also really want to sing with Brendan Urie. I don't care. I don't care when or how.
Yeah.
Just the singer from Panic at the Disco. I want to sing with him. It'd be fun.
Cool.
No, that would be awesome.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be so
you got
fun.
an extreme bucket list. Mine are like, I don't know, tangible things, but I'm too scared to do them.
Yeah, no, mine are way out there.
Sometimes it's difficult, like in situations like this when you're talking about bucket lists and things like this, to really love what you do.
Yeah.
And love your career.
Totally. I understand that.
Like, because the only thing I can think of, like, because I really don't have a bucket list. Like honestly, because if there's something I want to do, if I am able to do it, whether
just do it.
I try to do it. So it's not a matter of like, oh, this is a great, it'd be like, oh, well, when am I going to be able to do this?
Right.
So like mine is far more like, I would love to be able to do this in my career someday. I want to direct a show on off Broadway.
Yeah.
Off Broadway or Broadway. Yeah, and again, not that Broadway is anything but a brand, because that's all that is. But like, you have a lot of great playwrights in New York working right now, and I want to do a show that's like a Butte show or like Blackbird.
Yeah.
With like two just insanely talented actors, an insanely talented crew and designers, and put on a show. And yeah, I want to work with excellent people. I want to work with excellence.
Yeah, definitely. This is a difficult question for me because I don't know that I have like a bucket list.
Yeah.
Guys, I didn't write all mine down. I mean, and that's just something that I did, and I was like, whoa, that is something I always wanted to do, and I never thought I could do that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So I guess something that I would love to be able to do is meet like some celebrity, some famous person, probably a writer, probably like a writer-director, maybe like Joss Whedon or J.J. Abrams or something, and just have a conversation with them. Not in a hurry kind of way, like if I was at a con that they were at, and I was like, hey, let's take 5 seconds to but like sit down in a room and it's just the two of us and be like, so like why do you do this? Where do you get your ideas from or whatever? I know that's like a trope question, but like just talk to them and be like, just have a conversation.
Why are you, Mr. Abrams?
Yeah. Why?
I would love to meet a celebrity and talk to them about nothing about their craft and just see what other things are going on in their life. That's I would love to do that.
Like, yo, Chris Pratt, do you play piano?
Yeah.
Do you like to cook?
Right.
Do you bake, dog?
Yeah.
What types of foods do you like?
His wife bakes a lot, apparently.
Good for him. Good for her. Good for them.
Baking's awesome.
Cool.
Bacon's awesome.
Baking.
I know.
Both.
I mean,
indifference on bacon.
But like, I'm just going to piggyback off that. So we were going to go to a con that the original Pink Power Ranger was at, but then my friend ruined it.
By getting married.
What a jerk.
I know.
And I
fuck her happiness.
I know.
It's the Pink Ranger, goddamn it.
Seriously.
Anyone else? Green
I want to
Ranger.
see Haley Joe Johnson so hard.
But I really wanted to just go up to her and just ask her just the most random question and see what she would have said.
Yeah.
Just
She'd probably have security called up.
No, not like a creepy one. Just hey, how do you blah blah blah.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the new Power Rangers? What'd you think about it? What is your honest opinion?
You should be like, well, on the day I was on set.
It was pretty awesome.
I don't know, a Star Wars movie? What do you think about that? That was cool. Right?
Yeah, like seriously, like something like that, just for like.
Give me your notes on Valerian. I think
yeah. How do you feel on Valerian? It's visually stunning.
Listen.
Would you like to come to our Peeves and Q's podcast?
Yeah.
What do you think of alternative energy solutions? Like,
and what do you think is too far for artistic license? Like,
Amy, woman's choice. Let's go.
yeah.
Yeah,
Do you like bitching? I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Just something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd love to just like talk with a celebrity, not in like an interview sense, but just be like, "Hey, what's up?" Cool.
I don't think I could do it.
Just
because I cry about thinking about
no, I would have a really hard time with that because if I were in a room with a creator or whatever, the things I love in this world are the things they're making. So, like, what else do I have to talk about when I'm not with? If I'm not with this person, guess what? I'm talking about that anyway.
Right? Yeah.
So, like,
if you were to meet Gene Roddenberry,
just to that'd be really weird because he's been dead for 30 years.
It's a bucket list.
That's not what a bucket list.
That's a post bucket list.
No. It's somebody who died, and now you want to hang out with them. That's a bucket list, right? Because they've kicked the bucket, and now you're gonna kick.
I don't think you've seen the movie.
I don't think you understand the premise.
Yeah.
I want to meet Morgan Freeman. Hang out with him. That's not my bucket list.
You could do that, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you better hurry.
Well, cool.
Yeah, because he's probably going to be on that plane
Wow.
too.
Hey, is he wrong? Is he wrong?
He's getting up there.
I mean, no, but you don't have to. Anyway, what's your
what's your
question?
Oh boy. So my question
I don't like that smile you're giving me.
is, what would be your rap name if you were to get into the rap music business? Now, I asked this question specifically because...
Wait, I want to hear all of ours, by the way, that you gave us.
I'm a big fan of Eminem, and I think it's really cool how he has this multiple personas that he juggles, because there's Eminem, who does funny things, then there's Slim Shady, who does dark, violent, twisted things, then there's Marshall Mathers, who talks about his real-life problems. And I love that. So I want to do a concept album, even though I don't really write rap music. I write more like rock music. But a concept rap album called Wild Side, where it's me, the nice guy, and then the darker thing beneath me that doesn't really come out because I don't want it to. Yeah. It's like that violent, visceral nature that everyone has, but we keep in check. To kind of explore the duality of people.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So my rap name would just be Jordan, but I would also have an alter ego named Wild Side that was very, very violent.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And I came up with rap names for all three of you as well.
Can I just, like, for my answer, can I just steal that?
Then maybe we should go last with all of ours.
Do you want to go last, or do you want us to...
you guys go first, and then I'll tell you.
Okay.
I don't know.
Here, we'll go this way. I have thought about if, like, I was ever famous, would I go by Jody and my last name, or Jody and my new last name, or what I would do. And I think I would just go by Jodeline.
Jodeline?
Yeah, because I've never met anybody with that name.
Yeah,
and
Jodeline.
Yeah, it just seems like a really good brand.
It is. I like it. It's unique.
It's like a one word, like Cher.
Call your first
Madonna.
album Toe in the Line.
Yeah, dropping the line.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's good. So I don't know a lot about rap names, so mine's a terrible answer, and mine would be Thick Brightly, because it's the opposite of Slim Shady. So there you go. Thick Brightly.
Also, sounds like a great porn name.
It does. No, it would be. Thick Brightly. What's up, you guys?
Don't.
That's what two
No,
C's.
I'm way too not into, like, that.
Then just use like a
Oh my god.
a stage name or whatever.
Oh, wait, no. 3-Pac.
You're the worst.
Troll.
Okay, go on.
You troll.
You would be Mr. Red and you know.
Oh, Mr. Red.
Yeah.
Definitely. Lost my brain.
I don't. Pass.
Quaff Man.
No.
What's up, you guys?
Mr.
Quaff Man. It's
Quaff.
2017. Quaff Man. All right. So
Julio.
if I were to give Jody a rap name, it would be Clever Girl.
That's right.
Yeah.
You would be MC Red, because Red is your brand.
Nice.
And you'd be DJ Higher Knowledge.
Oh,
Nice.
I like it.
that sounds so pretentious.
Well, but you're a smart dude, so like you would probably, if you wrote rhymes, they'd probably be informed,
up
like
there.
social commentary.
Yeah.
Which is a whole thing. That's a whole
I know.
rap
Yeah.
thing. You would be MC Red, who does Bitches and Bacardi. You'd be the
What
clever...
bitches are you doing?
Bacardi.
Is my name Picardi? No.
Go change it.
And then, as Clever Girl, you'd be a lyricist who, like, wrote really complex rhyme structures.
One might call them clever.
Yep, they would.
Well, I like this question.
I knew mine was going to be Clever Girl for sure.
So I'll be 4-pack and it'll be great, and we'll...
you just keep adding.
Yeah. 27-pack coming at you.
How about chicken pock?
Chicken pock. Ooh. I like chicken pock. I like chicken pock. It's good.
No.
So, awesome, you guys. Good job. Did everybody ask a question?
Yeah, we got it. We got through them all.
Good. This is a lot. What are you in pain for? What hurts? What's hurting you so much?
He's not rap at all.
Well, 50 Pac over here.
Yeah, 50 Pac.
The 50 United Pocs of America.
I don't know. That's your second album.
Yeah. I'm writing it now.
So you guys,
you
guys ready to wrap this up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Wrap this up.
I was going to say,
wrap this up without a W, you guys.
Yo.
Quaffman, this is going amazingly. I don't know what you're talking about. This is the best episode we've ever done.
So uncomfortable.
I
don't even know why.
Well, if you would like to email us your own questions or your own peeves or your own comments about the show or whatever, peevesandqspodcast@gmail.com, or you can do us shorter things on Twitter @peevesandqs. I'm your host, 1000 Pac, and with me we have the Quaffman. Well, we're not signing in again. Well, Clever Girl won't have guests, but thank you guys for being with us, and thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share, etc.
Please stand up.
And tell us your rap name on Twitter.
Yeah, do that. Answer the questions that we've asked before. Thanks, goodbye.